Okay, so I'm going to go through and finish this synopsis with this deponent verb. The two are different in that the top one I've given you the translation and the bottom one I have not. So if you look at the top translation, again, just to remind you that it's this column and this column for a non-deponent verb that we're missing. So they're always passive in form, so passive in form, but then active in meaning. So these are all active translations. Okay, so this is coming from the verb konar, konari, konata sum. If I look at this verb, I get the ko, nor, O-R, and then the A-R-I. That tells me that this is a first conjugation verb. And again, if I were to chop off the R and change this I to an E, I would see that pattern if it were non-deponent. So I'm asking you to form this in the first person plural, which you can see is the we form. So for an active verb, this would all be mus all the way through. But because we're deponent, the endings are most likely going to be mer on the top part. So I'm going to go to my infinitive, which is konari. And just as if this were a regular verb, I'm going to chop off my vowel re. That leaves me con. This is a first conjugation verb, so my connecting vowels for the present tense are a, e, I/u, I/iu times 2. So because this is first, I have an a connecting vowel. And then I'm going to add my passive endings. And then, like I said up here, that's more. So I get kanamor, and that would be translated we try, we are trying, we do try. Same process for the other two tenses here on the top for the present, imperfect, and future. I go to my infinitive and chop off my vowel ri. My imperfect tense connecting vowels are a, e, e, I, e. So again, still first conjugation, so still an a. Imperfect, I add that ba infix to indicate that it's the imperfect tense. And then my ending for the first person plural, but passive rather than active. So kona bamor, we were trying, we began to try, we kept trying, we used to try. Then the last one, same process for future. Go to my infinitive, chop off my vowel ri. My future tense connecting vowels are a, e, none, I. So again, this is present, imperfect, and future connecting vowels. So I still have an A. My future tense endings are bor, beris, bitor, bimor, bimini, buntor. So we will try, we shall try. So notice the stars here, right? This indicates that these are formed from the second principal part, but these down here are formed from the fourth. So I'm going to be using this form up here, konata sum. So we are in the plural. And so this form right here, my participle, has to reflect not only gender, us, but also number, singular, and plural. So I only have 3 choices for the singular. That participle is either going to end in us, or And again, this is singular, genders, masculine, feminine, neuter. And if it were plural, just like serwus goes to serwi, puela goes to puelai, baculum, bacula. So I just want to choose a plural gender. I, by default, always choose masculine. So here, instead of konatus, which is singular, up here, I'm going to have konati. And that's going to be the same for all 3 of these tenses, konati, konati, konati. And then to change tense, all I do is use a different form of sum, like we did on page 1. So to form the perfect of sum, to form the perfect tense, I add the present tense of sum. So here I want sumus, because we're in the we form. To form the pluperfect, I add the imperfect of sum, so I get eramos. And then for future perfect, I add the future of sum, eramus. And that is my synopsis on the top. For the bottom, I haven't given you any of the translations. So we can use the top as a model, this verb is also a first conjugation verb. So all the rules that we have in the top also apply to the rule at the bottom. And here I'm asking you to do the third person singular. And again, by default, I always choose masculine because that's what Latin would do. So I'm going to do the Latin first because that's what we did in the top. And here, again, choosing the verb moror. So it's a first conjugation verb. So I go to my infinitive, chop off my vowel RI, and then add my connecting vowel, which for first conjugation is A. And then I add my endings, ris, tor, morator. Same process for the imperfect, but I add my infix, BA, and then tor. And then for future, connecting vowel, and then bor, beris, bitor. So again, same forms as above as in terms of connecting vowels. Down here, because we're singular, we're just going to be moratus, because I chose masculine. If you chose feminine, it would be morata for all three forms. And then we add our form of sum, and the third person singular is est in the present, erat in the imperfect, and erit in the future. When I add these tenses of sum to this participle, it changes the tense to the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. In terms of translation, this is going to be he delays, is delaying, or does delay. He was delaying. Again, active translations. He will delay. You can also say stay. He delayed, has delayed, or did delay. He had, with D, delayed. And he will have delayed.